responsibilities. She had several barriers to keep people in the honest community from seeking professional help.
There's the stigma part, there's the not having time part, and sometimes barriers with me working long hours, maybe not having any health insurance, or even being underinsured.
The board says resources are available for those in need, such as pro bono sessions, sliding scale fees, and working with interns who can provide free mental health services. This story was produced with original reporting from Legacy Kale for KABF. I'm Freya Ross, Arkansas News Service, founder of Trust Educators at publicnewsservice.org.
Attention sports fans, get ready for the ultimate sports experience with the Howling Wolf Sports Show, premiering on Monday, August 12th from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. We're bringing you the latest sports news, in-depth analysis, and exclusive interviews with your favorite athletes and coaches. But the most current football news, tuning in to KABF 80.3 for the Howling Wolf Sports Show. That's Monday, August 12th from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. only on KABF 80.3 FM. Be here, KABF 80.3 FM is your home for the best sports coverage.
So in love you want to do. Yeah. So drop with me. Oh. I'll do you forever.
I'll never be true. Let's stay together, loving you whether times are good or bad, happy or sad. Ooh. Good or bad, happy or sad.
Why do people make up?
Turn around and break up.
I just can't conceive.
You never do that to me. Would you, baby?
No.
All I see.
Let's stay
together, whether times are good or bad, happy or sad. Let's together, loving you
whether
yeah.
times are good
Whether
or
times
bad,
you still
happy or sad.
whether times are good or bad, happy or sad. Yeah, welcome to Community Voices. We are live right here at KABF 88.3 FM with Al Green bringing us in. Let's stay together. Wow. Whether it's good or bad, happy or sad. We are so excited about this show, but we realize and we recognize that this show would not even be possible were it not for you. The community shows up for us every single time we call. Whether we are calling on you for your human resources to show up at a rally or to sign, help us collect signatures, or whether we need you to be in the room in the legislature, whether we are asking for your financial resources, you are calling in and giving of your gifts, your financial gifts to us every way you can, calling in to the station to push back, to promote, to do all kinds of things, coming in on the air to serve as a community voice. We appreciate you and we are grateful for you. And in that spirit of oneness that binds us together, we greet you in the Zulu tribal greeting of Sawubona, which simply means that we celebrate you, we see you, we respect the whole of who you are. And all of you is invited into this space for this conversation where the phone lines are already open. 501-433-0088, 501-433-0088. I got your co-host in the house, but we also have a special guest in the house. So I want to pause for just a moment to allow them to introduce themselves, and then I present to you some and introduce to you to others who these people are. So you've got your co-host in the house, the pastor, Toney Orr. Grand rising to you, Toney.
She do that every time.
I like
She do that
it. Seems like there's something y'all do at y'all church. There's something they probably do at their church.
We get an organ up in here.
Yeah, all you need to do is Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's so excited to be here this morning, and just want to remind all our listening audience, KABF is coming up on 40 years. 40 years being the voice of the people, and no matter how you interpret KABF, no matter how you your opinions of KABF, the one thing that KABF has always done and will continue to do is be the voice of the people, whatever that voice may be, whatever your voice is. We are the voice of the people. Sometimes a voice may be in disagreement with another voice, but that's okay because it's still voices having conversations to enlighten, empower, and educate. So just ask that you continue to listen to KBF, continue to donate to KBF. And I've been saying this on the different shows that I do. Hey, if you're looking, for those of you who still have CD players, if you're looking for some CDs, come by KABF 88.3, and you can take as many CDs as you want. We have boxes and boxes. They're free. They're free. And if you don't want to come up the steps, just tell me what type of music you like, and I'll bring them down to you. Just come get them. This is our gift to the community. If you want the CDs, don't hesitate to come get them.
That reminds me to issue our disclaimer that the views and opinions of this show are the views and opinions of the host, Denise, the Reverend Doctor. You can call me Denise. And they do not in any way reflect the views and opinions of KABF 88.3, where we are the voice of the people. So
how do CDs remind you of that? Yeah. Because my thing is like, okay, I just had to buy a new car because my car was totaled. Okay. And I was looking for a car that had a CD player in it, and I could not find one. So all my CDs, I guess I'm going to have to put them in digital format or something because I could not find a new car with a CD player.
Wow, I don't blame you. Hold on just a minute. Okay, this is KABF 88.3 FM. You are listening to Community Voices. This is Denise. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Denise, how you doing, girl?
You must didn't trust me to make your announcement after you sent your text. You wanted to make it yourself. Go on, Miss Mary, make your announcement. I know what you about to say.
This is the only Mary Austin Jones on Amazon. My book, Beyond the Crossroads, is on sale with Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kindle. It's a good read. It's only 143 pages, but it's power packed. It's a memo of my life. Everybody wants to know about me.
Yes, Miss Mary calling in to let us know that her book, Beyond the Crossroads, has hit press. It has been published. We talked about it a long time ago. Seems like a long time ago, but she was already in the process. She let me read a little bit of it. It's on Amazon for $16.99. That's the hardcover, and let you know that even in it, she said anybody that want to know anything about her, you ain't got to ask nobody else. She's giving it to you in her book. So let's support Mary Austin Jones. I don't really know. I think that when Toney started talking about for 40 years we have been on this station, and then he said even if your voice is in disagreement with another voice, that's what made me say, let me issue this disclaimer, because a lot of times my voice is in disagreement with other voices. So that's how
we'll get a phone call.
A phone call, an email, a text message. Every time I see Toney's name on my phone, it feels like my supervisor is calling me. Oh Lord, somebody call to the office. Every time here, what is it now? My good friend Candace, Dr. Maxwell. I can't stay long. I just wanted to say, hey, to two of my favorite people. Keep saying the things we need to hear and pushing us to realize the actions we need to take.
Hey, Candace.
And so then that means we need to introduce this other part, her second favorite person that's in the studio, a representative. Let me let you say your name.
Indeed. I am Kwami Abdul-Bey, and you said representative. Let's speak it into existence. I am a candidate for House District 69, which is Northern Pulaski County, Southern Faulkner County. So basically going from Jacksonville, 67167, all the way to Mayflower, bordering the city of Conway. So that's the district that I'm running to represent, and it includes so many different communities. It's a district that has been heavily gerrymandered to ensure that the person that is currently representing, and I say representing with the air quotes because there is no representation, but that is currently the named representative. It was heavily gerrymandered to keep him in power. So the goal is to take him out of power because he's an existential threat to democracy here in the state of Arkansas.
All right. That's why today's topic, for those of you following on Facebook, today's topic is the power of politics. That's what we'll be talking about. And that's why I invited, in my mind, you were already the representative. I'm like, I wrote it down. I was like, oh, wait, as a matter of fact, I wrote your name. They said, wait a minute, let me go back and put this title. So yes, I know that I used to
when you greeted me this morning,
I said representative.
I'm like, dang, that sounds good.
I used to go to that kind of church that said, you see what you say. See what you say. Let me give these announcements, and then we have our EJI tidbit as well before we get into the conversation. Come and be a part of the book signing by radio and TV personality Jody Love, author of the book Live Your Dream and Never Stop Dreaming. That's this Sunday, July 28th, 2024, from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Rialto Art Gallery, 213 Broadway Street in Morrilton, Arkansas. Like to see my old friends and make some new ones, says Jody Love. Everyone is welcome. The WIOA Recruitment Fair for 2024, that's the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, is a landmark legislation that is designed to strengthen and improve our nation's public workforce. WIOA, which stands for Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, was designed to help job seekers access employment, education, training, and supportive services to succeed in the labor market. Do you meet the requirements listed below? Open to all age 16 and up, 16 to 17 with guardian required. City of Little Rock resident, low income, legally eligible to work in the United States. Other eligibility requirements may be required. So some of them are listed right here, but there may be some others. Just so you know, if you get turned away, don't get mad, because it might be something else that they come up with when you show up at the door. But it's open to ages 16 and up. If you are a City of Little Rock resident, if you are low income, I think we need to start defining what it means to be low income. And I don't know the proper definition of that. We'll get that to you. Legally eligible to work in the United States. It's happening on August 6th from 10 to 2 p.m. at 501 University University Avenue, 72209. We offer free services, help getting your high school diploma or your GED, tuition assistance, free training, paid work experience year-round, monitoring and guidance counseling, job-seeking skills, leadership development, resume writing, and other services. For more information, contact Randy Cooksey, 501-682-8030, 501-682-8030, or you can contact Randy Cooksey at rani.cooksey@arkansas.gov, rani.cooksey@arkansas.gov. The Central Arkansas Library System, also known as CALS, is excited to have Karen Slaughter on the Ron Robinson Theater stage, 100 River Market Avenue, happening on Thursday, August 22nd. Slaughter will discuss her latest thriller in the Will Trent series, This Is Why We Lied. Karen Slaughter is the author of more than 20 instant New York Times best-selling novels. She is published in 120 countries with more than 40 million copies sold across the globe. Doors open at 5:30 p.m. and the discussion begins at 6:30 p.m. 250 books will be given to the first individuals in line for the discussion. This event is free and open to the public, but registration is required. Go to cals.org to register. Go to cals.org to register. The Central Arkansas Library System, also known as CALS, is excited to announce that the 2024 Six Bridges Book Festival will be held September 23rd through 29th. This year's festival chairperson is Senator Joyce Elliott, a CALS board member and former high school English teacher. This event will feature award-winning, best-selling, and emerging authors in virtual and in-person sessions and special events. Most festival events will be free and open to the public. Most festival events will be held at CALS's Library Square in downtown Little Rock. Authors will continue to be announced throughout the summer. For more information, go to www.cals.org. For more information, go to www.cals.org. Toney, do you have an update on Senator Joyce Elliott?
That's what I was just thinking.
Yes. So Senator Elliott is doing better. She started her therapy this week, and which is great. We're looking forward to her making steady progress and being able to just be able to continue to get there.
That also reminds me, thank you, Toney, for keeping us updated about Senator Elliott. That also reminds me about my own mother. So I announced on last Tuesday that my mother died on July 12th. And then I realized as the days go by, every time I think about it, all through the day, I realize it's somebody else I forgot to send a text to, somebody else I forgot to send a card to let them know. And so I finally posted it on Facebook that her memorial celebration is happening on this Saturday, July 27th at 10:30 a.m. at New Beginnings Church of Central Arkansas. And that location is 4303 East Drive in North Little Rock, 72118. That's New Beginnings Church of Central Arkansas. And I need to go back and edit the post on Facebook because we are having two memorials for her. We're having this memorial here in Arkansas because so many people loved on her. We developed y'all just rallied around my mama. She got a whole tribe in Arkansas, and I did not think it fair or just to not have a service for her here. But then we're also having a service in Mississippi because that's where we are from, the following week on August the 2nd. So I'll make that announcement so people don't think that you have to travel to Arkansas if you live in Mississippi, and people in Arkansas will know that you've already had yours. You don't have to worry about showing up twice. Now, if you want to show up twice, that's for you, but just know that. And so many of you are asking me how you can support me, and I said this in church on Sunday. When I see your name show up on my text message, or when I see you in Facebook Messenger, or even when I see that I missed a call from you, when I see your name, I don't just think about you. But when I see your name, I think about all of the memories that I have with the way that you loved on my mama. I remember all of the ways, the memories that I have when we all shared space together, laughing and giggling and talking, when y'all came to the house, when y'all brought her to the house, when y'all came to In and Out with Tea, when y'all showed up to say hi to her at Hayes Community Center, like all of the different ways ways. That's what happens when I see your name. And when I have those memories, it also gives me a moment to just hold sacred space for my mom. So those are the ways that you can support me. I don't need y'all to bring me any food. I don't need y'all to be to have company at the house. I'm not ready for that yet. But I do appreciate your names popping up to let me know that you are thinking about us. And I appreciate it so much. So our EJI tidbit for today comes from the 13th of Arkansas.
It's 13th of Arkansas.
I mean,
I'm glad you put that disclaimer out there.
no, it's not Arkansas. This is actually, the month is July, but I keep getting it wrong. I'm not gonna tell a story. I'm all mixed up these days. I am really all mixed up these days. I think that I want to make sure I'm going to use the July. I know it was the one. It's earlier than. It's not today. That's what I know. I'm going to just use the one from 1954, July 11th, 1954, where we have. I'm going to use July 12th, 1898. July 12th, 1898. A white mob in Virginia lynches John Henry James, ignoring the black man's protests of innocence and taking pieces of his clothing and his corpse as souvenirs. On July 12th, in 1898, a white mob in Virginia lynches John Henry James, ignoring the black man's protests of innocence and taking pieces of his clothing and his corpse as souvenirs. I wanted to use this as our tidbit today to continue to ground us in the conversation that started with Al Green saying, let's stay together, because this black man is saying to them, listen, I am innocent of the crimes for which I am being accused. Mm-hmm. I have not done these things. It's not even in my being to do these things. I'm just trying to live as black in this world. And no matter what I say, because of how you see me, you don't believe me, and you think you can do whatever you want to do with me because you have the power to do it, because the state and this system of white inhumanity has given you the power. So when Kwami says that we need to uproot this, we need to vote this man out so that we can usurp his power, so that he can no longer do the things that he does simply because people are trying to live as black and his view of blackness is skewed, and therefore his legislation and his policies have negative impacts on us. You have to listen to our voice. And the way that you can listen to our voice is, first of all, that we raise it. Secondly, that we amplify it. On this station, we amplify voices. We call you into the station. We let you come. We open the phone line so that your voice can be heard, so we can amplify your voices. And we have to be in places where our voices have power that can move things, that can make things happen for us in ways that we cannot in our own context. So this man, John Henry James, is saying, listen to me. The only real crime that you have against me is that I'm black. And we got to figure out how we're going to stay together in the spirit of oneness that is the Sawubona, in the spirit of our humanity. How do we learn how to stay together? Because one thing I know is you can't keep me from being human. Even if you degrade me, even if you discriminate against me, even if you dehumanize me, I'm still human. And you human too. So how do we figure out how to stay together? And that's the conversation we're going to have. But I don't want to leave it right there with all of us coming together. I want to center it in the black experience, because that's what I do. Because I really believe that, I know that black people are at the lowest level of the caste system. So if we work to raise the lowest level, everybody gets raised in the process. So we gotta focus on the most vulnerable of us among us, and that's black folks. Non-white folks, that's black folks, that's non-white folks. And so when I was thinking about the Democratic Party, when Phyllis Brown sent me a note, she was like, you see Joe Biden to step down. I said, what? I was extremely upset. And here's why I got frustrated. I got frustrated because I said, one thing I can say about the Republican Party is that I admire is that they are unified with a public face. In the face of the public, they stand unified, right? So because Joe Biden had a poor performance at the debate, Democrats began to publicly come out and talk against him, telling him speaking against him, telling him he needs to step down and all of those things. And I'm like, wait a minute, y'all, we could have had these conversations in the boardroom, we could have had these conversations, but in the public face, we should have been unified, saying, look, we are going to support him. We're going to make sure that we keep him lifted up and to do the things that we need him to do. Because what I felt like, if I had been the advisor, I would have said, listen, y'all, let's do it this way. Let's keep him where he is, and let's do everything we can to get out the vote so that we can put him in office. And then once he gets in office, we all know he's frail. We all know his health is failing. Once he gets in office, then he can step down. That automatically makes Kamala Harris the president of the United States. And then we can worry about the VP during that time. And then we would not have to depend on white folks, the system of white inhumanity that has conditioned several white people with the condition, I'm trying to say one of these when you have a diagnosis, when you diagnose with whiteness, because that's some kind of sickness that you have, we wouldn't have to depend on them being able to rise above their own biases in order to see whether or not they could vote for Kamala Harris. We would be able to say, okay, she's already in automatically, now let's just get to work. That would have been my advice. And so that's how I got to this question to this song about how come it seems like we can't stay together, especially when times are bad. Because Al Green says, whether times are good or bad, happy or sad, we ought to be able to stay together. So when we talk about the power of politics and what's in store for us, let me just pause for a moment and say this. Kwami Abdul-Bey is only the second person since I've been on this air in all this time that has given me homework for the show. Kwami Abdul-Bey done walked up here to KABF and told Toney to give me a packet. 45, how many pages? 45 pages in it. Talking about 47 pages. This packet got 47 pages. And I was like, and then he gonna say, what we talking about tomorrow? I said, what we talking about? Didn't you give me 47 pages? And so we talk about the power of politics. How are we going to come together now that we know what the threat is? The threat is Project 2025. We know what the threat is. We see Kamala Harris is on the move right now. How much money did you say she raised, Tom?
$81 million in 24 hours. Never been done before.
And then turned around
and raised another 1.3, which is going up.
Now, but what's vitally important about that is that $81 million came from small donors that look like us.
Say that again. Small donors.
$81 million came from small donors that look like us. Melanated people got on a telephone call last night and the night before. Last night it was $81 million. No, the night before, because that was when the sisters was $81 million. Last night it was a comparable amount. Yeah, and when the brothers got on.
Yeah, and so we have to think about that when we talk about let's stay together. I always think about Senator Joyce Elliott when she was running for Congress. And I know that I believe in my heart that had more of us given to her financially, we would have pushed her over that, and she would be a congressperson today. I believe that. And so when we say let's stay together. Had we stayed together. And so now we have to stay together. Let's think about it. I'm looking at Toney right now. He has this McDonald's coffee cup. And I know for a fact that Toney drinks coffee every day. Toney, how much is a cup of coffee cost? Don't talk about your benefits. Just tell us how much a cup of coffee costs.
Cup of coffee, $2.
Okay, so a cup of coffee costs $2 and you go 5 days a week. That's $10 right there. Is it possible that you can stay together with us and decide not to drink coffee from McDonald's for $2 for a week and then give that $10 to the Kamala Harris campaign? Is that possible? Some of us go to, what do I do all the time? I want to go to Michael. I want to go to Michael, and I'm an artist. I want to get the latest. I want to get the latest pens. I want to get the acrylic. Some of the paint that I buy costs $21.99 just for one tube. Is it possible, Denise, that you can forego getting that tube of paint so you can send $20 to Kamala Harris's campaign? There is a way that we can stay together and make this happen, because even if every black and non-black person every black and brown person in the world, if every non-white person in the world voted for Kamala Harris, in the United States, we still need other folks to help us. We still need help. Okay, say it.
Every morning I go to the dark side and get some chai latte, and it costs $4.50. I'm going to give up doing that every Monday for the next 100 days so that I can give that money.
Oh, so it's a challenge going on.
There you go.
Oh, it's a challenge. Let me see. I gotta come up with a response. I accept that challenge. I gotta come up with what I'm gonna give up, because I don't do anything every Monday. But yes, there is a way that we can do that. And so I wanted us to talk about, Kwami. First of all, I wanted you to give us your own overview, your own summary of your own, help us understand what is happening with this Project 2025, because we've talked about it before, Toney and I, on the show. But this piece that you gave me it's because the project itself is over 900 pages.
Yes,
and so this group took the time to say, hey, you don't have to read 900 plus pages. We're going to give you a synopsis of everything that's in there so that you can have something to grab hold to as we think about this. So talk to us about Project 2025.
Before I do that, if I could, I'd like to comment on two things that you said.
Absolutely.
First and foremost, you gave the EJI moment.
And you got your EJI hat on.
Yes. You know, my nonprofit, Clarice and I, we have a nonprofit, and one of our projects.
What's the name of it?
It's Washita Foothills Youth Media Arts and Literacy Collective. And one of the main projects that we do out of the nonprofit is called the Arkansas Peace and Justice Memorial Movement. And through the Arkansas Peace and Justice Memorial Movement, we are the EJI partner for the state of Arkansas. Here in Arkansas, there have been over 500 documented lynchings. 500 documented lynchings in the history of this state. Now, most historians say that for every documented lynching, there's at least 2 undocumented lynchings. At least two. So when we say that Arkansas has over 500 documented lynchings, what we're saying is there are probably 1,500 or more lynchings in the state of Arkansas. And Arkansas ranks 3rd as having the highest number of lynchings of any state in the United States. And when you talked about the particular historical fact for today, I was reminded of John Cotter here in Arkansas in May of 1927 at the intersection of the 9th and Broadway, when a Black church was broken into and raided of its pews, and those pews were stacked in the center of the intersection of 9th and Broadway and set on fire, and John Cotter's body was thrown on top of there, and his body parts were broken off and used as souvenirs. One arm was used to direct the traffic. So when we talk about this mentality of Black inhumanity and white priority, that's a classic example. It's as home as it can get, right there at 9th and Broadway, which most of us go across that intersection at least once a week.
You know, just real quickly, you know, both of you talking about the EGI, and it's 2 things. One is I often wonder, the people, especially when you read about these burnings and lynchings and souvenirs being taken, body parts being taken, especially in the 50s and 60s, I often wondered, do some of these people still have those souvenirs? Have they preserved them?
The answer is yes.
I think they do.
And the reason the answer is yes. Put it over here.
Yes.
Okay.
And then the other thing.
Wait a minute, because he had 2 things to say before you had 2.
No, we can talk.
I want you to finish.
But the answer to that question is yes. And as a historian, I'm a member of the Board of Trustees for the Arkansas Historical Association. And I work with historians throughout the state of Arkansas. And just as recently as 2018, we got a call from someone whose grandfather had died, and they went into the attic to go through his stuff, and body parts were found.
Wow.
And they were marked with the news article of the person that was lynched and everything.
Yeah, and I believe that too because I watch reality crime shows all the time, and they talk about the reason that the whole purpose for the souvenir is so that you can relive the experience at a later time.
Yes.
And so they absolutely want to hold on to it because it is a treasured item that they have. That they every time they look at it, they are transported back
Yes.
to that space, and there's euphoria that happens
Yes.
for them, and so they absolutely want to keep it.
Yeah.
You said it two things.
Yeah, and the other thing I just want to say, I get a lot of phone calls. I get a lot of people talking about, why we keep reliving the past. Why we keep reliving the past.
And that's why I brought this up. We're going to talk about that, but keep going.
But then I look at it when I hear the EJI tidbit where he is professing his innocence.
Yes.
And they killed him, burned him, mutilated his body anyway. And so when it comes to Black people professing their innocence, we still get convicted. We still get executed. But here is a person who's running for president who's been convicted and saying, I'm innocent. And everybody said, yes, he is innocent. It was a witch hunt. It was, it was political persecution. He can't be innocent, even though he was convicted. But you have Black people who don't even get a trial and being convicted. So, when you start talking about we've moved past that, and I have to tell people, no, we're still right there.
Still right there.
Indeed. And the other thing that I wanted to say is you talked about the idea of President Biden, us staying together and supporting him through his re-election, and then he stepping down and Vice President Kamala Harris ascending to the seat of presidency. I believe that until, I'm a former social studies teacher, so I had to dust off one of my textbooks.
Why am I not surprised?
To see how that would work. And I was horrified to find out that if that would have happened, then Mike Jones would have became the vice president. Mike Johnson. I said Mike.
The Speaker of the House.
Johnson. Yes, the Speaker of the House would have
Yeah.
automatically become the vice president. And that we
Would've
do
went-
not
would've
want
wrecked
at all.
Right.
It would have totally destroyed her legacy with her being the president, because he would have done everything that he could as one of the leaders of the MAGA revolution and as one of the leaders of white Christian nationalism in the federal government. So
it would have been President Obama's administration all over again, just not coming from the vice president, but just not coming from Congress, but coming from the vice president, because that's what the Republican Party did when President Obama was elected. They declared that they would do everything in their power to not let him succeed. So it would have been the same thing. And I'm so glad that you said that, because I did not know that piece. I was more concerned about us not having to rely on people, because right now what we're asking people to do in this vote for Kamala Harris is we're asking them to dig deep into their own inner consciousness.
Yes.
And we're asking them to recognize their own biases. And we're asking them to overcome them in order to cast this vote for the best person that we have for the president of the United States in our country right now, as far as I'm concerned. And so that is a difficult thing to do, because many of us don't want to at first even say that we have biases. Most of us want to say, oh no, I don't have any stereotypes. Oh no, I got a Black friend. You hear people say all of those things. And so it's difficult to have a real honest conversation with yourself. It's difficult, it's painful, and it's time consuming. But we only have till November. So that's what I was thinking, that we wouldn't have had to ask people. They wouldn't have had to do this heavy lifting if we had just stayed together. And so, yes, I see now that it wouldn't have worked the way that I had it. It worked out in my mind. But we are asking people to do something that's, even those people who are allies of ours.
Yes.
I have some of the most painful conversations I have are with white progressives, because they don't realize their own biases, because they have persuaded themselves, they have convinced themselves that they are not that person. And they've done so much work convincing themselves that they haven't done the real work of uprooting what's really there. And so I'm kind of concerned about we got to depend on it, right?
But you brought up white progressives. Why is Sarah Huckabee Sanders the governor right now? Because white progressive says, I would rather have this white woman as the governor then that black
That
man
black man.
has to go.
Again, and so race is on the table. One of the pushbacks that I get a lot on this station is about me always centering race. I remember we were talking, I came in to host the beauty and barber shop one Saturday, and we were talking about Simone Biles, and I centered that conversation in race. And one of the callers called in and said, for you to always talk about race, for you to make everything about race, or to make this particular subject about race, I think is a disservice. And I said to him, I'm going to keep race on the table because it's always on the table. And right now, this presidency, race, absolutely. If you didn't think it was about race before, it is absolutely on the table for consideration and conversation and discussion and dialogue now, because we've got to have these conversations, because we got to get you ready to cast this vote in November.
Mm-hmm. And when you think of everything that you just said about Kamala Harris's campaign, I'm dealing with that with my own campaign.
Okay, speak on it.
My own campaign, I live in a district that is about 70% of the people that live in that district identify as white. So I have to also go through the process of having people to understand that, hey, we got to get past what you see right now. And we got to talk about your best interests. We got to talk about the best interests of you, your family, your community, your city, your county, the state of Arkansas. Do not put your best interests on the chopping block because you do not like my skin color. And that's what I have been navigating through my campaign for the last several months.
Yeah, my brother Derek, Dr. Derek Danielle in Cape Coral, Florida, the same thing. He's a Republican. He ran as a Republican. He's been city board before, and he just ran for mayor. He did not win. And here's the thing: every Republican on the ticket was white except him, and every Republican on the ticket won except him. Right. And so and the interesting thing about it, well, the reality of it is when you look at me and you see black, or when you look at me and you think you see black, what you think you see is not who I am, because race doesn't even exist. It is a construct, but we can't just sweep it under the rug, because this whole country this whole world has built itself off of the division about race. And so we can't pretend like it's not there, even though it's not real, but we have to get people to understand that I am not what you see. You have to get to know me to understand who I am. And once you get to know me, we'll start figuring out that we have a lot in common.
Yes.
You know why we have a lot in common? Because 90% of the gene pool is shared by all humans.
Yes.
90% of the gene pool is shared by all humans. Sawubona to you. We are one in the spirit of humanity.
And when we understand that staying together, I love the way that you related that to our humanity, our shared humanity. We have to realize that we are all humans having a human existence right here, right now. And when we want to make sure, like you talked about, if everybody at minimum could have food, if everybody at minimum could have housing, if everybody at minimum could have the resources that they need to experience their own humanity, just at that minimum, if everyone could. And then let's look at how our society would function so much better if at minimum everybody had just those minimum resources that they need. And that's one thing that I'm interested in doing, because politics is nothing but the power to decide who gets what resources. That's what politics is all about. Politics is about the power to determine who gets what resources. That's all it's about. So when you talk about public policy, what you're talking about is okay, how do we distribute these resources for the public good? That's what public policy is all about. And the public good means everyone gets what they need. When I say everyone gets what they need, I'm not saying that everybody gets the same thing.
Right.
Everybody gets what they need.
Yes, that's equity.
When you the tornado that tore through central Arkansas, after that tornado tore through, the next day, where did the resources go? Were the resources distributed equally and everybody got the same thing? No, the people whose neighborhoods were torn down, that's where the resources went. That's what equity is all about. We give resources as they are needed. Not everybody gets the same thing. So these conversations of equality, equitable democracy means that everyone gets what they need to realize their humanity.
And that's another reason why we need to, that's a great segue into Project 2025, because Project 2025 is taking away your very basic needs.
Yes.
Project 2025 is attacking us everywhere, from the environment to education to transportation to healthcare. On every front, Project 2025 is rolling back any kind of protections that we may have thought were in place, so that the politics, how you just define politics, that only the people that this group believes deserves what they deserves to have a certain kind of life. That's where all of their attention is geared to a certain group of people, and they definitely don't look like me. None of us up in this room. They definitely don't look like us. And so we have to make sure that we are aware of what's going on. And again, one of the things that I do admire about the Republican Party is that they don't try to hide stuff. They're not trying to hide. It's 900 pages. This is just a 47-page synopsis, but it's 900 pages telling you exactly what they want to do starting day one. They're going to roll back these protections. And what was interesting to me is so many of the things that they want to do, they can bypass Congress to do it. They don't need Congress to vote. It'll be just an authoritarian thing, an autocratic thing that will happen. And so we need to know executive power, that we need to know that this is what is happening among us. So again, Kwami, talk to us about Project 2025, your summary of it, how you feel about it, what you want us to know about it.
Well, the most concise summary I can tell you is that Project 2025 is the Southern strategy on steroids.
Say that again.
Project 2025 is the Southern strategy on steroids. And the Southern strategy is nothing but the post-Reconstruction era dusted off and brought up to the 60s and 70s when the Southern strategy was implemented.
Goldwater.
Yes.
The best way the simplest way to define it is that the Southern strategy was a Republican Party electoral strategy. Project 2025 is an electoral strategy to increase political support among white voters. Project 2025 is an electoral strategy to increase political support among white voters, especially in the South, by appealing to racism against African Americans, by appealing to racism against Black folks. And so that's why, Kwami, when you say I'm having to navigate not the fact that I'm the best person for the job, not the fact that I'm the most qualified person for the job, not the fact that I have the lived experience that's going to give me insight into how to make this a more equitable state to live in. None of that is what I'm having to navigate. I'm having to navigate that I can't even get you to listen to me because of what you see when you look at me.
Yes, and Project 2025 is not something that will happen. Project 2025 is something that is already happening. It is already happening. There were 2 states that were chosen to begin the rollout of Project 2025. Those states were Florida and Arkansas. If you look at the legislation that has been passed in Arkansas in the last 3 legislative sessions, and then you compare it to the bullet points of Project 2025, that legislation lines up with it.
And we have to think about organizations like ALEC, which is the American Legislative Exchange Council, and that's what they do. They pick states, and it's kind of like a a pilot. It's kind of like they practice. Like, let's put this out here and see what happens. And once it works,
let's throw it against the wall and see if it
sticks. And wherever it sticks, we are now going to create a template, and all we do is white out the name of the state, white out the name of the governor, and we're going to then replace it. And it's the same template that they use everywhere they go, and they pitch it. And they always start in the South. And ALEC, the American Legislative Exchange Council, they have already said we start in the South because we know that they are less educated.
I need you to say ALEC one more time and then pause so people can write it down because they must understand that this is vitally important that they know.
The organization is called ALEC, American Legislative Exchange Council. American Legislative Exchange Council. They are a far-right group that pushes legislation. They are a lobbyist group that pushes legislation, and they start in the South because they believe that we do not have the intelligence to see through what they are doing, and they pilot it, it works, and then they duplicate it in the other states.
And the Arkansas State Director for ALEC is David Ray, the person I'm running against.
Say, serendipity. What you say? And so we need to know that education is under attack. But one of the things I also want to say about Project 2025 and all of what it is saying, I hope that we can when we begin to as we continue to talk about Project 2025, that we can stop spending so much time in the conversation being surprised. I don't know about you, Kwami, but sometimes when I'm talking to people about Project 2025, they're like, what? They trying to do what? I can't believe it. And I'm like, wait a minute. Are we really surprised?
Yes.
Let's just take education. Are you really surprised that this continues to attack public schools? Are you surprised? When has America, I'm just talking about America, when has America ever said to Black folks, we are really interested in educating your children? Mm-hmm. When has that ever been a thing? Mm-hmm. So now that we see that education is under attack in Project 2025, let's stop spending time talking about how surprised we are. We should not be surprised, because not only has it's something that we are already currently living, it's been our legacy.
Yes, and here in Arkansas, that fight for education is very central to us because of what happened here in 1957. And for those that don't understand, 1957 never ended here in Little Rock, Arkansas. It's still going on. But what happened in 1957?
Tell people, some people, believe it or not, some people might not know what happened in 1957.
In 1957, Little Rock Central High School was desegregated, and it had to be desegregated by force. The force of the United States Army had to desegregate it because there was a select group of people who had a mentality of white priority complex, and they used violence to prevent 9 Black children from going to the formerly all-white Central High School. And that power that we talked about earlier, the power for resources. So what did Governor Faubus do? When they successfully desegregated, he said, oh no, we gonna just shut down the whole thing.
Shut the whole year.
That's politics of power. Mm-hmm. That's what it is, because he took those resources. Not only did he shut down the school, what he did is he told the white churches, you go create what they're now known as segregation academies. You go create you some segregation academies, and what we will do is the money that we needed to fund these public schools, we'll just send it over to you. Yeah. Today, that's known as vouchers.
Yes. And not only will we send it over to you, this governor has elected to even send the money out of the state. So we've got our Kansas who are going to school, I know, in Tennessee, using those vouchers. And so again, let's not spend too much time being surprised about what they're doing. Let's talk about how we can move against it. And so, Kwami, we have just a few minutes left. And Toney, wait, you haven't said much. Do you want to say something? I just realized, I'm like, you haven't said much at all. Okay, so Kwami, if we have a few minutes left, tell us how we can support you in your candidacy and your run against David Ray, who is the Arkansas president of the American Legislative Exchange Council, known as ALEC, which is a far-right organization that continues to push legislation that is rooted in primarily racism against Black folks.
Yes, and ALEC is also an organization that is under an umbrella known as the Heritage Foundation.
Yeah, the Heritage Foundation is the publisher, the author of Project 2025.
And the Heritage Foundation, truth be told, one of their key former interns and everything is a guy known as J.D. Vance.
Yes.
He's intimately connected with the Heritage Foundation. So when Trump says that I know nothing about Project 2025, well, your vice president does.
Look, Trump is a pathological liar.
Yes, he is.
A pathological liar. And that has been proven time and time and time again. And so when we ask ourselves, why are people willing to vote for Trump? Why are people, I was just in a conversation the other day with a beautiful Black woman, and she said that she was leaning toward, if she had to make a choice today, she was leaning toward the Republican Party, and she had her reasons why. And I sat and I listened, and I said, I just want to receive this because I want to try to consider what these opinions are.
Yes.
As I thought about it, and I continue to think about it, I cannot for the life of me understand how a person who is melanated, any melanated person, but especially a Black person, I don't see how you can source your vote in a man who and remember, Donald Trump is just the face of the Republican Party. He stands. He's standing on the shoulders of hundreds of millions of people who believe what he is purporting, that about racism and about racism against all kinds of people. He's just flat out racist. And so I can't figure it out, because I don't care that you got money during COVID. That wouldn't make me vote for President Trump. I don't care. What are the other things? I don't care. That you have to put your body first. Your body is more important than anything else. And right now, your body is on the line with this vote. And so we have to make sure that we are thinking beyond the distractions that they are offering through the mouth of a pathological liar, so that we can see the truth about what's best for our bodies in this vote in November.
So in order to contact me, all you have to do is call me at 501-436-9119. That's 501-436-9119. I'm also available on all social media. Just bring me up, Kwami Abdul-Bey, KWAMI ABDUL-BEY. I'm accessible on all social media. I have a website, Kwami Abdul-Bey, archouse69.info. What I would like you to do is, because I like to talk to the people. Mm-hmm. So just give me a call, give me a text, 501-436-9119. And
say it again.
501-436-9119.
And don't worry, you all, because when I do the special thanks to our guests, the follow-up flyer, I will have all of this information on there, so you don't have to try to scramble to write it down right now. But the flyer will post on the Facebook before the end of this week, and it will have all of Kwami's contact information on that flyer for you to be able to get in touch with him. Anything else, Kwami? Toney, do you have some words for us? Because you haven't said much of anything.
The only thing I want to add is that if we don't wake up, what's the song by Sister Act 2? If you don't wake up and pay attention.
Wake up and pay attention.
Yeah.
If you want to be somebody,
right.
If you want to go somewhere, you better wake up and pay attention.
If you want this country to wake up and go somewhere, you better wake up and pay attention.
And again, you don't have to go far. This stuff is in black and white. It is on the web. You can this information, the plans that they have for us, that the Republican National Committee has for us. It is in black and white. It is in our face. It is right up front. We need to pay attention to that, because our bodies are on the line with this vote, and we have got to stay together. Thank you so much for joining us for Community Voices, where we are live right here at KABF 88.3 FM with the voice of the people. Your girl Lola is already at the door, ready to come in and give you some jazz music, so that you can think about how this music moves your body to think about the right thing to do, the right way to act when you cast your vote in November. And I'm going to leave us and get her started. Our power, because our vote is our power. I'm going to leave us with what's going on. And it's a song by Marvin Gaye, but it's Teddy Swims singing the cover. And he is a white man. Now, very rarely do I showcase a white person. Why am I showcasing Teddy Swims? Because we got to stay together right now in the spirit of oneness to move this country forward. So we don't have to look beyond race and say, hey, let's focus on our humanity and do what's best for us. So here comes Teddy Swims singing What's Going On. How you doing? I enjoyed that.